This first 100 days of this presidency have been, there's a lot of ways you could call it. A lot of people have been coming up with good science, but their own spin on it. I would say it's been a historic debacle. But I would also say that one of the most important things to know about that is that the country is very clearly wide awake to it, right? This is not a secret. Quote, Trump appears to be less popular at the 100-day mark than any other president since the inception of approval polling, says the Financial Times. Headline, Trump's approval at 100 days lower than any president in at least 7 decades. Headline, poll finds more Americans give Trump an F than any other grade for his first 100 days. They asked Americans to grade him. More Americans gave him an F than any other grade. Headline, new polls reveal Americans, including Republicans, losing faith in Trump. And you pile on top of that the economic judgment that is pouring in now in reaction to Trump's bizarre economic policy decisions. Donald Trump's first 100 days mark worst for U.S. stock market since Gerald Ford. U.S. stocks have underperformed the rest of the world this year by the widest margin in more than 3 decades, as Trump's erratic policymaking sparks an investor exodus from American assets. Quote, U.S. economy shrinks 0.3% in the first quarter as Trump trade wars disrupt businesses. U.S. economy shrank in early 2025 as Trump tariffs sapped growth. I mean, it's bad. I would say it's an historic debacle. But, you know, it's not over yet. We're only 100 days in. How's he handling this bad news? How are his political skills at this moment for handling a political moment like this? Well, here's another headline for you from today. Headline, Trump on tariffs says, quote, maybe the children will have 2 dolls instead of 30. He really did say this on camera at the White House. I'll spare you the tape. I'll tell you, though, his exact quote was, well, maybe the children will have 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls, you know? And maybe the 2 dolls will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. So that's a little snapshot of the president's political skills right now. That's his political instincts, his ability to know just the right thing to say in a difficult moment. That's how sharp he is at this point in his life. He is handling the disastrous American public opinion polling and his performance thus far, and the self-imposed total self-immolation of the U.S. economy by telling America's children, you know what? You have too many toys anyway. Suck it up, kids. Also, buy my crypto coin. You can maybe tie it all up in a bow with this new polling from the Public Religion Research Institute. Axios got the first look at this polling, and I think their headline on it sums it up well. Quote, most Americans see Trump as a, quote, dangerous dictator. And that's exactly what that poll found. I mean, the exact phrase that was put to people in this large, well-respected poll was, President Trump is a dangerous dictator whose power should be limited before he destroys American democracy. Do you agree? The answer was yes. By 8 points, yes, a majority of Americans agree with that. 52% of the country agrees with that. Break it down along racial lines, 67% of Black Americans agree that Donald Trump is a dangerous dictator whose power should be limited before he destroys American democracy. 67% of Black Americans. Latino Americans, 63%. Asian American or Pacific Islander, 58%. It's only white people among whom a majority do not agree with that statement, but even among white people, it's still 45%. A dangerous dictator whose power should be limited before he destroys American democracy. Speaking of Trump's power being limited, court losses keep piling up for him. Trump is now being forced by the courts to reinstate the more than 1,400 people he tried to fire from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Trump has also just been ordered to pay Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty the $12 million in grant funding they were owed in April, according to their congressional appropriation, that Trump nevertheless was refusing to pay out. And that ruling is important in its own terms. But in that ruling, you should know, there was a sort of an important sort of statement that went along with it. Language in the ruling from the judge in this case, who is a very conservative 81-year-old Ronald Reagan appointed judge in Washington. He closed his ruling in this case by noting that the constitutional paradigm that mandates that Trump can't block this funding that was approved by Congress, that constitutional paradigm, in the judge's words, is, quote, a framework that has propelled the United States to heights of greatness, liberty, and prosperity unparalleled in the history of the world for nearly 250 years. If our nation is to thrive for another 250 years, each co-equal branch of government must be willing to courageously exert the authority entrusted to it by our founders. Judge Royce Lamberth, deeply, deeply conservative veteran judge in the Federal District Court yesterday in Washington. What a time, right? I mean, this is the end of the 100 days. This is the start of the second 100 days. And here's Donald Trump, less popular than any president has been at this point in his presidency since the dawn of modern polling. He's like blaming Joe Biden for everything he's doing. He's complaining that the polls must be fake. All of them. He's telling America's kids that, you know what, they've had it too good and that's about to change. While meanwhile, the courts are finding their voice, and the people never lost theirs in the first place. Second 100 days. The country seems like we're ready. Tonight, we're just getting started. Lots to come tonight. Stay with us.